We all know that nearly 100% of politicians are liars. After all, if you find an old dictionary you will see that the definition of politician is defined as liar. What is being seen today on the left of American politics has become pathologically unique. It is a clear mental disorder. Liberalism and progressivism are both political philosophies rooted in mental disorders. Dr. Lyle Rossiter, a renowned psychiatrist, who for more than 35 years has diagnosed and treated more than 1,500 patients as a board-certified clinical psychiatrist and examined more than 2,700 civil and criminal cases as a board-certified forensic psychiatrist. He received his medical and psychiatric training at the University of Chicago, a liberal Obama-land university. Dr. Rossiter says the kind of liberalism being displayed by Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the Democratic Party can only be understood as a psychological disorder. Dr. Rossiter says the liberal agenda preys on weakness and feelings of inferiority in the population by 1. Creating and reinforcing perceptions of victimization, 2. Satisfying infantile claims to entitlement, indulgence and compensation, 3. Augmenting primitive feelings of envy, 4. Rejecting the sovereignty of the individual, subordinating him to the will of the government. Dr. Rossiter has been quoted as saying, based on strikingly irrational beliefs and emotions, modern liberals relentlessly undermine the most important principles on which our freedoms were founded. Like spoiled, angry children, they rebel against the normal responsibilities of adulthood and demand that a parental government meet their needs from cradle to grave. Dr. Rossiter's assessment is fine, but it is not medically detailed enough, in our opinion. In psychiatry, there are what is called defense mechanisms. Level 1 defense mechanisms are considered to be pathological. Of these pathological defenses, liberals always seem to conform exactly to 4 in particular: delusional projection, denial, distortion, and extreme projection. Delusional projection. This is classic liberalism. There is a belief held with strong conviction, despite superior evidence to the contrary. In other words, I never met a liberal that could agree with a fact if it doesn't fit their opinion. Denial is the refusal to accept external reality because it is too threatening, arguing against an anxiety-provoking stimulus by stating it doesn't exist. Resolution of emotional conflict and reduction of anxiety by refusing to perceive or consciously acknowledge the more unpleasant aspects of external reality. Distortion. This is also classic liberalism, a gross reshaping of external reality to meet internal needs. Extreme projection is the blatant denial of a moral or psychological deficiency, which is perceived as a deficiency in another individual or group. In everyday evidence, all liberals and progressives fit these molds to varying degrees. Some can be reached through factual logic, not through liberal logic. That is an oxymoron. Those that can't be educated with the truth are impossibly delusional. There are added exceptions to the above classifications. Barack Obama fits 2 additional categories to the liberal psychosis. Although malignant narcissism is not officially in the DSM-4 Manual of Psychiatrical Disorders, narcissistic personality disorder is classified. This narcissistic pathology that Obama exhibits fits the pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and lack of empathy, beginning by early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts, as indicated by 5 or more of the following. 1. Has a grandiose sense of self-importance, for example, exaggerates achievements and talents, expects to be recognized as superior without commensurate achievements. 2. Is preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. 3. Believes that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with, other special or high-status people or institutions. 4. Requires excessive admiration. 5. Has a sense of entitlement, that is, unreasonable expectations of especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with his or her expectations. 6. Is interpersonally exploitative, that is, takes advantage of others to achieve his or her own ends. 7. Lacks empathy, is unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. 8. Is often envious of others or believes that others are envious of him or her. 9. Shows arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes. It is our belief that a person fitting all 9 categories should be labeled malignant. This is Obama. Obama fits all 9 categories to the letter. He also carries another disorder which is more dangerous. His other disorder is hard to classify medically. He is actually a combination of various pathological disorders. If we were to use a simple dictionary word, Obama would be classed as mendacious. Someone who has mendacious tendencies is given to deception and falsehoods. He is one who has a false or lying character. But where does he fit medically? Pathological liar, compulsive liar, sociopath. He has been called a pathological liar. Pathological lying was originally defined as complex lies which are internally consistent and that may drag on for years. A pathological liar does not have an obvious purpose or gain. They're not trying to con you into a route of anything. They're just making everything up. Therefore, although his lying is pathologic, he does not quite fit the definition of a pathological liar. Is he a compulsive liar? In part, yes. A compulsive liar is defined as someone who lies out of habit. Lying is their normal and reflexive way of responding to questions. Compulsive liars bend the truth about everything, large and small. A compulsive liar has a problem in telling the truth and is very awkward and uncomfortable with the truth. Compulsive lying is usually developed in early childhood, due to being placed in an environment where lying was necessary. This may be due to his horrible upbringing. Being a compulsive liar is only a description of a faulty brain. It is not a technical medical definition. We are looking for the medical description. Is Obama a sociopath? Being a sociopath falls under psychiatric description of maladaptive patterns. These disorders are divided into clusters. A sociopath falls under cluster B, antisocial. A sociopath is typically defined as someone who lies incessantly to get their way and does so with little concern for others. They throw people under the bus to reach their goal. A sociopath is often goal-oriented. The lying is focused. It is done to get one's way. Sociopaths have little regard or respect for the rights and feelings of other people. Sociopaths are often charming and charismatic, but they use their talented social skills to manipulate in self-centered ways. Bingo! What is dangerous about Obama's form of sociopathic lying is that he does it with a smile on his face. That is a trait of a purely pathological brain that further ties in with his other narcissistic qualities. Let's tie it all together. It takes no special talent to diagnose Obama, and similarly, Hillary Clinton. What about liberals and the left-wing media who vehemently defend and protect what is clearly visible? The media and liberals carried such hatred for George Bush that they almost foam at the mouth when he is mentioned. Obama continued, exponentially expanded and exceeded many of the Bush policies. But now it seems perfectly fine to liberals. As long as it's Obama doing the destruction. What would be a description of this type of liberal characteristic? Here is another simple answer. These people are called codependent, enablers, inverted narcissists, arco-narcissists. These terms are used interchangeably with respect to people who are emotionally dependent on narcissists. Narcissists surround themselves with codependents as they tend to work beyond ethical limits to do whatever the narcissist needs. Narcissists crave power and codependents crave security. so they are naturally drawn to one another. This is, in part, the liberal, progressive disorder, a pathological psychosis. Now, what to do about it? Don't get angry. Keep to the truth. Teach a liberal to understand what is right and wrong. Teach them just like you would any angry, spoiled child.